Today's tutorial is about how to make triangle of stars by using recursive functions. So this photo is one particular case of triangle of stars. So it is made of basic stars, spaces, and lines. So in the first row, to print one star, first of all you must print 1, 2, 3, and 4 spaces here before the one star. The second row is based of 1, 2, and 3 spaces and 3 stars. The third row is based of 2 spaces, 1, 2, and 5 stars. So we see that the number of spaces is decreased by 1 in each row, and the number of stars is increased by 2. So to print this triangle of stars, I wrote 4 codes, 4 functions. So the first one is for spaces. So I made a variable const with the name of space, and I put a value of function in it, which has an argument of space. I gave it a termination case. If space is 4, then it must return nothing. And if space is not equal to 0, it must return space and plus space, space minus 1. So I wrote this function. When I call space with 4, it will print 4 spaces. So when I call it with certain number, it will print that many numbers, that many number of spaces for me. The second function I wrote for stars. So it's all the same as I said with spaces, but in this case it prints stars. If I call a function by its name stars and I put a value of 5 in it, it will print 5 stars. It will print any number of stars I put in star by calling it. So the third function is for concatenating those two together, spaces and stars, in the one line. So I wrote it for lines. So again, it is a variable which has a name of run and which has a value of function in it. And the function itself has an argument of and, space, and star. Again, termination case if this and is equal to 0, then it will return nothing. Otherwise, it will console log spaces plus stars. You see, it concatenates this function here and this function here. Spaces and stars are concatenated together. So after consoling log this one, it goes down and runs this function again by the other parameters. So now instead of n in this row, I have n minus 1, and instead of space, I have space minus 1. And instead of stars, I have star plus 2. So as I stated, we wrote space minus 1 because our spaces are decreasing by 1, and I wrote star plus 2 because our stars are increasing by 2. So the final function I called by run2, and I wrote this because we want to have one parameter instead of those 3. So we put a parameter of n, an argument of n in this function, and we run it simply by n, like this one we have here, and n minus 1 instead of space, and instead of star we wrote 1. So when I call this run2 with any number, it will print that many rows, that many lists for me. If I call it with 10, I will have 10 rows, and if I call it with 20, I will have 20 rows of stars. So it will have 1 star in the first row, 3 stars in the second, 5 in the third. So the stars will increase by 2, and spaces will decrease by 1. So that's it for today's tutorial. Thank you for watching.